Hello everyone. So if you followed the tutorial last week when when I did the introduction about Python, I described a bit, what are variables, imports, comments, and while loops. Today we are going to increase a bit your knowledge of Python in order to do like more interesting robot controllers as you will see in tutorial 4. And we are going to speak about different data that you can store in a variable like strings or boolean values. We will also speak about Python lists, if conditions, and for loops. So just starting with the strings. So last week, as you know, we learned that you can store like numbers into variables. So for example, you can have something like my variable equals 2, and from this moment on, my variable is going to contain the value 2, and it can be any number like 3, 3.4, whatever. So something that is quite interesting in Python is that we can use variables to store words, words in English or sentences, which in programming languages this is called a string. And in order to do so, we are going to surround like the word or the sentence either by a single quote or by a double quote. So for example, I can do something like my string equals hello. And from this moment on, you can see that my string is going to be equal to that. Or I can do like some other variable, and now I'm going to use double quotes. Well, and from this moment on, this variable is going to contain this. It can also contain like spaces, for example, or numbers or special characters. It can be almost anything. So for example, if I assign this, to the variable called another one, and now I want to inspect its values, you can see that it contains almost everything. Something that is quite interesting in Python is that if we use the plus sign, we can concatenate the strings, and this means just putting one after the other. And then we can also use the print function to display its contents. So for example, as you know, the example here, it has like one variable called my string, which contains hello, the other one contains world, and then if you create a new variable, third one, which is equals to my string plus another one, it's going to concatenate them, and it's going to be hello world. So by concatenation, this is what I mean, to put just one string exactly after the other one. So let's do that, for example, with the strings I have before. So you can see it's my string plus another one. Remember that my string contains hello, and another one contains world, one, whatever, anything. So now if I inspect the contents of third one, it's going to be just like this kind of like crazy sentence where, remember that hello up to this point, it was the first one, and then the other one goes everything together. You can see that there is no space between hello and world, because like it's just concatenating them just one after the other, like it's not leaving any kind of a space. And then I can also use like like a print statement to print the contents, which in this case you can see in the command line, I can just put the name of a variable and it's going to print it. But sometimes inside your code, sometimes you want to put print statements, as we will see later. And then, as I say on the slides, on the print statement, you can add more stuff. And then it's going to print like third one, which was hello, world, one, anything, and then more stuff. So I left a space here, so it's going to put one stave, more stuff. But this is not changing the information within this variable. So this is just like concatenating some things to the output, but third one is going to still be exactly the same as before. It is not changing because we are adding this. But we can also do, for example, third one equals third one plus 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. And in this case, what is going to go is that it's going to get third one, which is this string, and it's going to concatenate these four numbers at the end. So now if I want to see the contents of third one, you can see that it's exactly the same as before, and then it has 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end. So now let's go into Boolean operations. So you saw so far that variables can contain numbers, and variables can also contain strings of characters or sentences. The third type of data that we are going to speak up today are Boolean values. And a Boolean value is basically a variable which is set to either true or false. And it is quite important that you see that true or false are actually special keywords on Python. So if I put true, you can see like the thing goes directly on green. If I add another letter, true with two is, this is not like a recognized keyword, so it's gray like everything else. But if I type true, you can see that it goes on green. And if I type false, it also goes on green. If I add something else, it doesn't. But use false, it does. This means that it is a recognized keyword in Python, and this keyword just means like either true or false, that we are going to see the use later. And for example, you can assign true or false to any variable like that. So now my var is going to be true, for example. Once you have variables like once you have variables like that, you can make Boolean operators with signs such as bigger, smaller, equal, or different. And these Boolean operators are going to return true or false depending on the condition is true or false. So as it says here, if you type on Python 5 bigger than 3 is going to return a true, while 5 smaller than 3 is going to return a false. So for example, let's do this example, like 5 bigger than 3, it returns true, while 1 bigger than 99, it returns a false. And then we can also assign these operations, these Boolean operations, to variables. So for example, here I said that my var equals to 1 bigger than 99, which we know is false. So now if I type my var, it's going to contain a false. Well, here in this example, in the slide, it was 5 bigger than 3, which is true. So my var contains true, but here in the one I was doing here, I said 1 bigger than 99, which is false. And of course, we can also compare numbers. So before, in the previous slide up, we were comparing like numbers such as 5 bigger than 3, but we can also compare variables containing numbers. So for example, if I define that x equals 5 and y equals 3, and then I say z is equals x bigger than y, I think you can see that 5, is bigger than 3. So this comparison is going to be true. So then z is going to be set to true. And then we can also use the not keyword to transform a true into a false on the other way around. So as you can see here, I do x equals 5, y equals 3, and then I say z equals x bigger than y. So remember, x is going to be substituted with 5, y is going to be substituted with 3. 5 is bigger than 3, so this is going to be true. So z is going to be a true. So now I can print its value, true. But then I can just put the keyword not before it, and it's going to convert it into a false. So this is quite useful, to reverse the values of Boolean values. And the last thing in this block that we are going to do are Boolean operators. So, something quite interesting is that we can concatenate Boolean operations using the AND or keywords. So, you can type AND or, like you can see on these examples, and you can concatenate them. So the AND statement is like an AND gate. I don't know if you have done this like in electronics or something similar, but an AND gate is a Boolean operation which is going to return true when all its elements are true. On the other hand, the OR gate is going to return true as long as just one element is true. All the other ones can be false. So for example, you can see in this example here, so x, remember from before that x equals 5, so x bigger than 0 and x bigger than than y. Remember that y before equal 3. So is x bigger than 0 and xy bigger than 3? So x, 5 is bigger than 0, so this is true. And then 5 is bigger than 3, so this is true. So we have true and true returns true. On the other hand, if we have x bigger than 5, we know that this is false because x is 5, so 5 is not bigger than 5, so this is false. And this is the same as before, so this is true. So we have like false and true is going to return a false. So this is, your classic AND gate. And here, as I say, the OR statement will require that at least one of the elements has to be true. So for example, x bigger than 0 or x bigger than y, both of them are true. So, perfect, true. But here is where it gets different, x bigger than 5 or x bigger than y. So we know that x is not bigger than 5, so this is false. But we know that x is bigger than y, so this is false or true. But because one of them was true, it returns a true. And finally, if both of them are false, like this condition is false and this condition is false, the OR gate is going to return a false. So this is the end of this video where, we briefly spoke about strings and Boolean values and Boolean operations. And these things are going to be quite important for the next videos that we are going to do soon.